Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by PewSitter.com, your online Catholic newspaper for the third millennium, CatholicMediaCoalition.org, in line with the Church, online with the world.
And TheAmericanCatholic.com, politics and culture from a Catholic perspective.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Catholic News Roundup. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Conscience matter. Obama is now demanding that contraceptives, sterilization, and abortion be included in the health insurance plans for employees of Catholic institutions, despite meeting with members of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops last November. The Archbishop of New York emerged from this meeting saying, quote, "I found the President of the United States to be very open to the sensitivities of the Catholic community that were worried about an intrusion into religious liberty," end quote. And now, with the Conscience Clause virtually destroyed and religious freedom seriously jeopardized, Cardinal-designate Timothy Dolan of the Archdiocese of New York finds himself and all Catholics with few options regarding Obamacare, commenting, quote, "In effect, the President is saying we have a year to figure out how to violate our consciences," end quote. The mandate, which will officially go into effect August 1st, was announced last Friday by Obama's Secretary of Health and Human Services, by dissenting Catholic Kathleen Sebelius, and publicly supported by another dissenting Catholic on Capitol Hill, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi. With so many Catholics contracepting and aborting at about the same rate as the rest of the population, it is difficult to say whether or not bishops and clergy will be able to rally the troops around issues that have gone virtually undefended from Catholic pulpits during these decades after the Second Vatican Council. You can read more about this story on our resource page. Just click on the link right outside the screen. Peru's pro-death plan, abortion, and what is being called, quote, sexual diversity are about to become law in Peru, as the president of the country awaits reception of the latest legislation plan from country lawmakers. It's being called the National Plan for Gender Equality and suggests that the country's current ban on abortion be lifted to approve a, quote, protocol for therapeutic abortion by 2017, while setting up a mechanism to promote what they call sexual diversity in their culture. Without explanation, the document, supported in part by the United Nations Population Fund, calls for all handicapped people in the country to be registered as well to Peruvian authorities, along with 100% of women who are 18 and 80% of women under that age. According to the feminist activist authors of the proposal, its purpose is not just to narrow the gap of treatment between men and women, but completely transform the gender system that produced what they are calling the present limitations in their society. It is not known if the president will sign the plan or not when it formally reaches him in February. Gingrich versus the media. South Carolina conservatives like Newt Gingrich more than they like the media, according to a poll taken before he won this weekend's primary. The study, done by North Carolina-based company Public Policy Polling during the 3 days leading up to the primary vote, says 54% of state voters had a positive opinion of Gingrich, compared to only 37% that didn't. At the same time, 77% of voters polled said they had an unfavorable opinion of the media, compared to only 14% endorsing the media favorably. One more thing interesting to note, it was found that the more conservative the Republican voter questioned on the issue, the more likely that voter was to hold unfavorable sentiments toward the media. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by NewOxfordReview.org, the voice of Catholic Orthodoxy, in print and on the web, and RenewAmerica.com, expanding the influence of America's grassroots in the cause of freedom.
We'd love to have you guys stay. Do you want to stay?
This was the scene as abortion activists tried to disrupt a Sunday afternoon mini rally before today's March for Life in Washington. About a dozen pro-abortion protesters erupted during one of the speeches, waving signs and screaming inside the conference venue, "Pro-life, that's a lie, you don't care if women die." Their cries were only heard for a few short moments before they were escorted out of the Hyatt Hotel auditorium by security as pro-lifers quietly prayed for them. The rest of the event went as scheduled, but this will most likely not be the only encounter of this kind before the end of the march today, and you can look forward to more coverage of the March for Life right here on Catholic News Roundup. And finally, abortion advertising. Business is good for abortionists in the United Kingdom, especially now that for-profit abortion mills can advertise on TV and the radio. The Committee of Advertising Practice and the Broadcast Committee of Advertising Practice, known as CAP and BCAP respectively, say that since the so-called, quote, service offered is legal, it has become impossible not to allow advertising for it. Many are wondering if privately owned clinics will take advantage of the new rule, since a commercial for abortion permitted to air in 2010 received more than 4,500 complaints once it was released. Conservative Member of Parliament Nadine Dorries calls it appalling that broadcasters will profit from the revenue of a service that kills. There are currently 35 private hospitals in England which offer abortions. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Thanks for tuning in today. Be sure and tune in tomorrow for your daily dose of Catholic News Roundup right here on RealCatholicTV.com. And be sure to check out The Vortex, where Michael says, "We told you so." Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tell all your friends about us. And as always, God bless you.